Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
If you're looking for a company that can do it all when it comes to building, look no further than Tenakee Properties. From new home builds to remodels and commercial projects, our contractors work hard to give your space a new life from planning to finishing touches. Whether it's new interiors or dirt work, they see your big picture without forgetting the small details. In the market for a new home, they partnered with Freeman Development to bring new homes to the Oak Hill subdivision of Lawrenceburg. That's Tenakee Properties, licensed and insured. Call today or visit Tenakee.com.
Good Works at Home, formerly known as The Summit at Home, is a licensed non-skilled agency dedicated to helping you maintain your independence at home for as long as possible. Our compassionate and caring staff provide support in various areas, including dressing, bathing, personal hygiene, transportation, cleaning, and companionship. Please call our office about services, payment options, and long-term care policies at 931-762-2310. We look forward to assisting you with keeping your independence longer.
Efficiency, reliability, accuracy. Move forward with your real estate sale or purchase with Title and Escrow of Lawrence County, the most experienced closing team around. Working with clients locally and throughout the state, we offer a wide range of services, including the expertise of an on-staff attorney, backed by our more than 49 years experience in titles and closings. We get the job done on time at a fair price and ensure every last detail is correct. Our goal is to give you peace of mind. When you work with us, you work with people who live where you do. We understand the importance of the real estate community and strive to build strong relationships with all parties involved in the process. Whether you're buying a home, selling a business, acquiring land, or anything in between, you're in good hands with Title and Escrow of Lawrence County.
Put the most experienced closing team on your side. Contact Title and Escrow of Lawrence County today.
Volco Auto Supply in Lawrenceburg has a legacy of being a family-owned and operated company. Since 1927, our business has grown and evolved into today's one-stop source for all your automotive supplies. But in that time, one thing has stayed the same, and that's our commitment to our customers and their needs. At Volco Auto Supply, you'll find everything for your car, truck, or even fleet of vehicles, but with good old-fashioned customer service the way it needs to be. That's Volco Auto Supply, 416 Buffalo Road in Lawrenceburg. Visit VolcoAuto.com.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And happy Monday, everybody. Welcome in here to the X Sports Network for this Monday edition of the Mark My Words Sports Show here on the X Sports Network. I'm your host, Michael Marks, and, well, actually, folks, this is the 50th episode of the Mark My Words show, so thanks for everybody that is stuck with me through all 50 episodes. And listen, we got a lot to get into. We've got some high school region tournament action to recap from the weekend, and then also a ton of fun stuff that went on in college basketball and in college baseball. So we will start on the high school side of things, where all 6 of our local teams were in action over the weekend. You had both Loretto, the boys and girls team, both boys and girls teams from Summertown High School, and both boys and girls teams from Lawrence County High School. So we will start on the south end of the county, where the Loretto Lady Mustangs were in action on Friday night, where they took down Lewis County 69-33. Lady Mustangs climbed to 18-10 on the season, while Lewis County, the Lady Panthers, will see their season come to an end at a record of 4-20. And on Saturday night, the Mustangs were in action at home against Decatur County Riverside, and it was a back and forth at the start a little bit. Mustangs got out on an 11-0 run. Riverside came back with 7 straight of their own, so you knew it was going to be a high-scoring game, but the Mustangs' offense was on point. The defense was right there with them as well, and the Mustangs came away victorious 75-55. Riverside will finish their season at 12-17, while the Mustangs move on with a record of 16-10. For the Lady Mustangs Friday night, you had a big game from both Allie Augustine and Sophie Weathers. Got to see a lot of young players get a lot of time. You got to see more Lily Augustine, more Chloe Craig. It was good to see them get some action as we get ready for tonight's action. And then for the Mustangs, both Mason Tidwell and Kylan Wilkerson go for 24 points. And if those guys are putting up nearly 50, good luck. And the biggest thing, the Mustangs put up 75 points, one of their best offensive performances of the year, coming in a time where you need your offense to show up. So we'll head to the north end of the county with Summertown, where both boys and girls teams were in action on Friday night, where the Summertown both against East Hickman. So we had an Eagle versus Eagle matchup, the first of which on the girls' side, the Summertown Lady Eagles took down East Hickman 54-25. Summertown will advance to the region semifinals with an 18-11 record. East Hickman will see their season come to a close at 10-12. And on the boys' side, the Summertown Eagles 22-5 took care of business against East Hickman, who will finish their season a record of 2-20 by the final score of 59-36. It was a really close game at halftime. Summertown only a 2-point lead, but the offense and defense really took off there in the second half. So now we will go right across the pond to Lawrence County High School, where the Lady Cats were at home on Friday night against Montgomery Central at the Ralph. And, I mean, it definitely the biggest margin of any of our games this weekend on the X Sports Network. Lady Cats 86, Montgomery Central 19. I mean, not much more to say there. That is a 67-point win in the first round of the region tournament. You got to be feeling good moving forward on that. And then, so Lawrence County Lady Cats will advance to the region semifinals with a record of 16-12. Montgomery Central will see their season come to a close with a record of 5-18. Now on the boys' side of things, on Saturday night, the Lawrence County Wildcats at 5-22, had to make a trip really far up north, almost to the Tennessee-Kentucky state line to take on Montgomery Central on the road. It was a close back-and-forth game, but the Wildcats really took over in the second half and won that one at 54-38, ending Montgomery Central's season at home with a 16-10 record. And the Wildcats moving on with a 6-22 record, and all six teams, like I mentioned, will have advanced to the region semifinals, which means that probably some unhappy softball and baseball coaches are around the area today. Today is technically opening day. There's going to be some key pieces for some teams missing. So we will stay on the basketball side of things. We will talk about our Monday and Tuesday action in the region semifinals. Now, again, these games are very, very important. It's probably going to be one of the more competitive games you will play this year. You're going to have to play in a gym that you probably haven't played in this year. And it's a win or go home. You win, you get two more games. You get the region championship on Wednesday, and then you will get a sub-state game, whether it's home or away, on Saturday. You lose, season comes to an end. So it makes these games at this point so important. So our first game tonight, we'll start on the girls' side with Region 5 AA. Our first game of the night at East Hickman High School. We have the Loretto Lady Mustangs at 18-10 on the season, taking on the Community Lady Vi-Queens at 16-13. I got their action from the district semifinals from a couple of weeks ago up behind me. Currently in commercial break, but that will be up there throughout the show today. That game at 6 p.m. tonight at East Hickman High School. And again, winner to the region championship on a Wednesday, and for a chance to play, or for a chance to host a sub-state game coming up on Saturday. And our game after will feature the Summertown Lady Eagles 18-11 taking on the Hickman County Lady Bulldogs 23-5. That game will be right after. It's scheduled for 7:30. And honestly, with the way the Lady Mustangs and the Lady Vi-Queens games have gone, the first three have gone this year, we'll probably be starting definitely closer to 7:30, maybe even a little bit later than that. But this is going to be a very intriguing matchup as well. You have Summertown, who finished the regular season as the 4th seed on the girls' side. It's been a while since they've had to finish that low. Well, they have to take down the number 1 seed on the girls' side, the host team, the Cascade Lady Champions, and kind of started their little tumble. So you got two of the last teams to beat Cascade, who for most of the season was a top 10 team, was viewed as a top 10 team in the state. So a great matchup there. Again, winner to the region championship. The loser, season's over. And again, the winners of those games will face each other in the region championship on Wednesday at East Hickman. Now on to the girls Region 6 AAA side of things with the Lawrence County Lady Cats, who I have over my left shoulder. They're taking on Tullahoma, 19-10. That game will be at 7:30 tonight at Tullahoma. Again, winner to the region championship. This will be following the Giles County and Franklin County game, which will be at 6 o'clock. So that game will be starting after that. Lawrence County's on a hot streak. We'll just go ahead and say it. They, made it through the district tournament rather unscathed, and then nearly a 70-point win at home on Friday night. Got to be looking confident, but it's a Tullahoma team that haven't been as successful against this year. But you have a chance to right that wrong. Get yourself to a region championship. Get yourself to a sub-state game. It would be huge, and especially with the adversity that this team has gone through, the injuries, the youth. It's been incredible to see this run out of the Lady Cats. So we'll move to the boys' side, and again, winner of that game will face the winner of Giles County and Franklin County for the region championship on Wednesday. On to the boys' side of things, we'll start in Region 5 AA. This action taking place tomorrow. These games, the girls semifinal Monday, championship Wednesday. Boys semifinal Tuesday, championship Thursday. First game of tomorrow night will be the 22-5 Summertown Eagles taking on the 18-8 Lewis County Panthers at 6 p.m. Another matchup that we saw a little earlier in the year, but a matchup that we did see, and it was a great game at that. So, and we'll look at the scores of those games. Now, they were rather early in the year. The first matchup coming on December 16th was a 4-point win for Summertown, 72-68. And then I believe here says they only met once throughout the season. So, but listen, that's going to be a tough game. I mean, they kept up with Summertown. I've said all season that if Summertown can get to 70, they're probably going to win because there's not a whole lot of teams that can keep up with them. You look, that's really the only place they have struggled was if they don't get to 70. Well, they did against Lewis County, and that was good enough to get them the first time. But again, it's been 2.5 months since that game has been played, so definitely a lot can change between now and then. On the boys' side of things, another rematch. The Loretto Mustangs 16-10 on the season, taking on the Cascade champions at 16-13. Cascade, an upset win over Hickman County on Saturday night, and sees the team that finished fourth in the district tournament found their way out. And honestly, I'm surprised that Lewis County is here because community gave them everything they could handle earlier in that first round game. It was, I believe, a 7-point win for Lewis County, or a 6-point win in overtime. So took them all the way to the edge. So we get Loretto versus Cascade on the boys' side, part 3. It was a buzzer beater that ended it the first time they played this season, to open district play back on January 9th. Second time they played at Loretto back on January 30th was a lot more one-sided. Loretto's boys won that one 54-35. Cascade, since that second matchup with Loretto, only 3 wins. They're 3-4 in the 7 games since then, with wins over Community, Forest, and Hickman County. But also some tough losses to some teams. A game against the Ewellville is in there. One of the best teams in 1A. 2 losses to Summertown in there. A loss to Community in there. So, definitely no slouch at this point in the season, and it's a big one. The winner is going to get to go to the region championship. The loser, well, their season could be done, and very, very exciting there. So on the semifinal on the boys' side on Tuesday, the Region 6 AAA, Lawrence County Wildcats, 6-22 on the season, will be taking on Tullahoma for the 4th time. That will be the second game of the day, I believe. Let me make sure that is correct. And it is. Will be the second game of Tuesday at Tullahoma. The first game will be Creekwood and Giles County. The winner of that one will take on the winner of Tullahoma Lawrence County. Tullahoma, a 15-point win over Fairview. Lawrence County, a 16-point win at Montgomery Central. So, if anybody's battled some adversity, it's definitely this Lawrence County team. They've picked up 3 wins in the postseason that have kept their season alive. They were the 5 seed coming into the district tournament, won that play-in game. Fell to Tullahoma in the district semifinals, but were able to squeak out a win over Marshall County in the consolation game. So you get a first-round region game on the road. You go on the road, you win that. I mean, who's to say? Start out the game fast, force some turnovers. It seems like every time they've played, it's gotten closer and closer. Hey, why not them? It would be a miraculous underdog story of all time. But hey, I mean, if you watched in the last 4 games, they're 3-1 since then, and they look really good. So we'll just have to see what happens there. Again, you win, you get the region championship on Thursday. So that will do it for our high school section. Again, all 6 of our teams victorious over the weekend, and then our games, we have 3 tonight on the X-Sports Network. We will have Loretto and Community, that game at 6 at East Hickman High School. We'll have that on the X-Sports Network. And then following that one at 7:30, we'll have Summertown at Hickman, or against Hickman County, also at East Hickman High School. And then around 7:30 as well, we'll have Lawrence County and Tullahoma. Again, these are all win or go home. Very important games. You win region championship and sub-state, you lose, your season's over. On Tuesday, we have Summertown Lewis County at 6 at East Hickman High School, Loretto Cascade after at 7:30 at East Hickman, and then Lawrence County against Tullahoma will be after game 1, so around 7:30 at Tullahoma. The winner to the region championships and sub-state, the loser, your season is over. So that will do it for our high school sports section. We will be back here in a minute, and we will cover all of the fun action that happened over the weekend in college basketball, college baseball, and any college sports when we return here on the Mark My Words Sports Show.
For over 50 years, Southern Tennessee Regional Health System Lawrenceburg has been a cornerstone of care in Lawrence County. From cardiology to orthopedics, general surgery, primary care, and women's health, we offer compassionate expert care close to home. Our ER is now stronger than ever with more providers, chest pain accreditation, and our newest Joint Commission stroke accreditation, because every second matters. Generations have trusted us for compassionate care and medical excellence. Faster, trusted, accredited. Emergency care with hometown heart.
Arts, crafts, stationery, journals, books, educational toys, wrapping paper, devotionals, greeting cards, and much more can all be found at Paper and Thread in downtown Lawrenceburg. Shop local to find the perfect gift or have a custom gift basket made for just the right occasion. Paper and Thread has a party room now available for birthdays, classes, and so much more. We could go on and on about all the neat things you'll find at Paper and Thread, but you just need to hop in your car and head down there. 106 North Military Avenue in Lawrenceburg is where you'll find them and discover what makes Paper and Thread awesome. That's Paper and Thread in downtown Lawrenceburg, 106 North Military Avenue, just north of the square.
The Raptor Series from Hustler Turf. A premium line of residential mowers designed with a wide stance for operator comfort. A one-piece 11-gauge steel frame and welded steel deck for added durability. Finished off with premium Kawasaki V-twin power. We are Hustler Turf, and this is Hustler Country.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back to the Mark My Words College Sports Show here on the X Sports Network. I'm your host, Michael Marks, and we are going to jump right into our college sports side of things now. We had a bunch going on this weekend as, well, it's March. I mean, it's March 2nd now. Now the games from the weekend. We're going on the 27th, 28th, and the 1st. But hey, listen, we've got college basketball in March. So the tournament's coming up here in a couple of weeks. It's the last week of the regular season for men's basketball. The SEC women's tournament is starting this week as well. So, man, it's really getting to that time of year. So we will hop right into college basketball first and just kind of go over the weekend. We will start first on Friday night in the top 25, where Miami of Ohio, and man, have we had a team with this many close calls? Just barely got over Western Michigan in 69-67. It was a great game for Western Michigan to try to knock off Miami. But the Redhawks, 29-0, 16-0 in MAC play. Trey Perry went for 14. Peter Suter with 18 points. And Eon Elmer with 10 points. 16 off the bench from Almer Atlason. Just a great game for Miami to be able to overcome. I mean, if there's a team that has had more close calls, I'd like you to find them. I mean, this goes back to, probably since December. I mean, a 3-point win in overtime over UNC Asheville. You look at, then you go to January, first game of the year, 3-point win over Akron. Then you have the 3-point win overtime over Buffalo, the 6-point win overtime over Kent State, the 2-point win over UMass. That was 3 games in a row. Then you go to February, another close one with Buffalo. And then you have a close one with Western Michigan. And you have Toledo and Ohio, who were middle to upper end of the MAC, coming up this week to end the regular season. Should be a fun one. But another thing I don't get is you look at teams that have been undefeated throughout the regular season over the last, I don't know how many years, because you look at even the Wichita State team from 2014, 2015, they played a rather tough regular season. They earned that 1 seed. I feel like Miami's getting drastically disrespected. Now, you look at their schedule, who's the best team we play here? I mean, I'm just sitting here going through. I really don't see, there's some D2 schools in those November and December games. Your best games are whoever's the best teams in your conference, which are Akron, Kent State, Toledo, and Ohio. So, a little indifferent about this one. We'll see what happens when it comes to tournament play. But the fact that this team could go 33-1 and miss the tournament just because they lose their conference championship game seems kind of silly to me. Had a big top 10 matchup going on in Champaign on Friday night, where Michigan took care of business there, 84-70. And man, I'll tell you, Michigan just keeps showing how dominant their front court is. Axel Lindebor goes for 16.7 boards, 19 and 11 for Morez Johnson, the Illinois transfer. Was big for him to have a big game there. And then Ade Mara goes for 19 and 5 as well. And your guards didn't really do much. Cadeau 7 points, Burnett 3 points. McKinney was 6 points. LJ Kaysen had up to 9 points, but he's out for the rest of the year with a torn ACL now. So I think that's going to be the one thing that holds Michigan back when it gets to tournament time. They'll make the Sweet 16, they'll make the Elite 8, they may even make the Final Four. But I just don't feel like they have a true scoring guard, and you got to be able to do everything at all levels when it comes to the Final Four, because this it's not the same necessarily, but it kind of reminds me of that Duke team from 2018, 2019, where they had Zion, they had RJ Barrett, they had Cam Reddish, they had all these guys that were good wings and fours and I guess you could say transition front court, back court players, but they didn't have a dominant guard that could really score, so to speak, and I think that ended up costing them down the stretch, because that Michigan team, or that Michigan State team that upset them, that was Cassius Winston. They had a point guard. Does Michigan have that? I don't know. Illinois struggled as of late, big time. The month of February is definitely one they would like to forget. Got off to a good start with the win over Nebraska. You avenged that loss, a 40-point win over Northwestern. Then you fall to Michigan State in overtime. Then you fall to Wisconsin in overtime. You beat Indiana by 20, beat USC by 30. Then You lose to USC or UCLA. Then you lose to Michigan. So, 4-3 in your last 7 for a team that was, almost a 1 seed a couple of weeks ago. A little upsetting there. David Merkovich, 12 points, 10 boards. Keaton Wagler with 23 points, 15 points from Kylan Boswell. But again, the bigs from Michigan kept the bigs from Illinois from doing anything. Tommy Ivasic, 7 points, 4 rebounds. 3 for 10 shooting, 1 for 6 from 3, forced him to become a 3-point shooter, which he's not great at. His brother Zvonimir played 11 minutes, 2 points. Stojakovic wasn't able to really make an impact in this game at all. So, hopefully Illinois can get things figured out there, because I really do think they're one of the more talented teams in the Big Ten. But the Big Ten's talented, and you got to win games to prove that you're right there with the rest of them. So we'll move to Saturday in the ACC, where we had a good one to start the day off. Number 1 Duke taking down number 11 Virginia 77-51, and all that stuff I said about Virginia definitely backfired. Cam Boozer, 18 points, did most of it at the line. I didn't think everybody's talking about how great he looked in this game. I didn't think he was anything special in this game. I think Isaiah Evans was huge, 5 for 9 from 3. Kid shot the lights out, 19 points. Patrick Gongba played good on the interior. For Virginia, nobody played good except Chance Mallory was all right, and DeRitter was okay, but nobody else made more than 2 shots. And if your guy starter's playing 30 minutes, you're going to want to hit more than 2 shots, because 51 points, that looks like Tony Bennett ball. And when you're letting Duke get close to 80, you can tell he's still not the coach there. Notre Dame over NC State 96-90, and NC State, boy, they have a really confusing track record. You look at their February, win over SMU, win over Virginia Tech, then they get blown out by Louisville, lose by 1 point to Miami, kill North Carolina, beat them by 24, and then you lose by 30 to Virginia, and then you lose by 6 to a Notre Dame team that is 4-12 in conference play. I don't get it. Someday Will Wade's team looks like one of the better ones in the conference. With Copeland and McNeil and Vin Allen Lubin, Darion Williams, they look like a good team. They just don't have anybody off the bench. It feels like that's really the only thing holding them back, is they don't have a reliable scorer off the bench. And Cole Serta plays 41 minutes for Notre Dame, goes for 32 points. Braden Shrewsbury, 16 points. 25 for Jalen Harrelson off the bench, and that was all of Notre Dame scoring, realistically. They had 21 points from the rest of their team. A good win for Florida State over Georgia Tech, 80-71. Clemson gets back on the right track against Louisville, winning 80-75, and another rough week for the Cardinals as they fall both times to Louisville, or to North Carolina and to Clemson. Michael Brown didn't play as much in this one. Didn't play very good. Seems like everybody else is getting there, but I'll tell you, I feel like Isaac McNeely's been a bit of a, and I don't want to target him or anything, but this is his 4th year in college. He's played every game pretty much since he's been in college, and this is his worst 3-point shooting percentage year. And the amount of talented guards that Louisville has that can shoot threes, I don't know. It just feels like they're missing something here. When you got guys like Momcilovic over at Iowa State that's shooting 50% from downtown, it just a little confusing. Miami over Boston College, Pitt over Cal, Wake over Syracuse, Stanford over SMU, and North Carolina over Virginia Tech. We will move on over to the Big Ten. Not as many games on Saturday. Penn State over Iowa, 71-69. Northwestern, a 1-point win over Oregon, 63-62. Crazy finish to that one. Minnesota upsets UCLA, 78-73. Great game on Saturday from, it's just the whole starting 5 for Minnesota. It's just they play every minute. Bobby Durkin goes for 23 points. Isaac Asuma, 13 and 6. Cade Tyson goes for 21 points. 21 points and 6 assists from Langston Reynolds. And then Kai Shinholster comes and plays all 9 minutes that the starters don't play. Listen, if Minnesota plays like that and they can win like that, good. But that's asking a lot. If you want to make it through the Big Ten tournament, enough to, because you're going to have to win that thing to make it to the NCAA tournament. I mean, you're going to be asking those 6 guys to play every minute of every game for 4 weeks straight and could be playing as many as 10 games. That's a lot. Nebraska, a 15-point win over USC, 82-67. 32 points from Price Sanford. He was really the catalyst of this one. 17 points off the bench from Braden Frager. 14 points from Chad Maker-Mazzara. 12 from Cam Woods. Oli Arenas with 14 off the bench. The story of this one, so Chad Baker-Mazzara, former Auburn player, so I know a lot of the SEC crowd watching this will be familiar with him. One of those guys that's been in college a long time. This is his 5th season in college. Man, it started all the way back during the COVID season at Duquesne. Nonetheless, plays at Duquesne, plays at San Diego State, transfers to Auburn, has a couple of good years at Auburn, and then decided after last season to move on, moves out to USC, out to the West Coast with a former SEC guy in Musselman, and is having a fairly good year. 11 points, it's very touch and go, but I mean, really started the year on a hot streak. It scored as much as 34 points. It's gone for 30 on multiple occasions. It's gone for over 25 on several occasions, but gets injured in this game, goes to the locker room at USC, comes back out and sits in like the second row of the sits with the fans, and then it comes out today that he's no longer with the team. I mean, your guess is as good as mine with the whole thing. I'll see if anything has emerged today, but it's just a really, really weird ending to one of the more bizarre careers just of any college player. So yeah, he's just this. I mean, the latest news from KTLA, it just says that he's no longer a member of the team. Really, really strange. It has to do probably with somewhere around the fact that USC was probably not going to make the tournament. He probably wasn't going to have much of a future in the NBA. I'm guessing that they're. I'm not sure. Just a all-around strange incident. Wisconsin takes down Washington 90-73. On over now to the Big 12 scoreboard from Saturday, where we had another host of great games. Houston 102, Colorado 62. Big scoring game from everybody. All 5 starters for Houston scored at least 10 points. JoJo Tugler goes for 14, plays 19 minutes, didn't have as much foul trouble, and the only reason he only played 19 minutes is because they didn't need much more from him. 12 points and 3 boards from Chris Signac. Kingston Flemings only goes for 11, but hey, I challenge Milos Uzan. He goes for 26 points, 6 assists, no turnovers. Kingston Flemings had 8 dimes to 1 turnover. Manuel Sharp, 10 points. 10 points from Chase McCarty off the bench. 10 points from Mercy Miller off the bench, and 9 points from Khalifa Soko off the bench. Cincinnati stays hot, a 91-68 win over Oklahoma State. Arizona State over Utah, 73-60. An upset. Texas Tech takes down Iowa State 82-73. And listen, Texas Tech lost probably the best player in the Big Ten. I'll just go ahead and say it. I think JT Toppin, is, in terms of college basketball players, was the best college basketball player in the Big Ten. Or the Big 12, pardon. And I'm not saying they got better because they haven't, but man, their guys have really picked it up. Donovan Atwell, Christian Anderson, Jalen Petty, Lawan Watts, that 4 can do almost anything in the world. And, they're getting guys off the bench playing really good. Tyree Bryant, Josiah Mosley, they both go for double digits in that win over Iowa State. And for the Cyclones, you get 20 points from Momcilovic, you get 22 points from Josh Jefferson. Blake Buchanan gives you nearly a double-double with 8 points, 11 boards. Tamin Lipsey goes for 13, but just felt like something was missing there defensively. A TJ Otzelberger team does not give up 82 points at home. Arizona avenged that loss to Kansas on Big Monday and made it a big Saturday out in Tucson, 84-61. You just look, and it was a bad game for Kansas. Darren Peterson looked good. Everyone else didn't. That's probably the nicest way to put it. the worst game of Flory Badunga's college career. I think the Koa Pete, Ivan Kurchenkov, Krivas, I think those guys took that game in Lawrence personally, because Badunga was a man amongst boys in that game, and none of them had crazy stats, none of these three, but they made sure he didn't have anything. 2 points, 4 boards in 32 minutes. Kurchenkov goes for 11 and 6. Koa Pete in his first game back, 12.7 boards, 5 assists. Monteus Krivas, 13 points, 10 rebounds. But hey, player of the game, Braden Burries, goes for 20 and 12. Jaden Bradley had a decent game, 10 points, but Anthony Del Orso did what he needed to do off the bench. Toby Awaka comes in, gives you 8 points and 6 boards off the bench. Huge help in Arizona. They may not be number one in the new polls that just came out 20 minutes ago, but I think they have an argument. West Virginia gets a big win against BYU on Saturday, 79-71. Listen, the key for West Virginia, DeBonta and Wright can do whatever they want. No one else is doing anything. They did a good job keeping him relatively quiet, and there were 4 guys that touched the court for BYU and played nearly 10 minutes each that didn't score a point and only took 2 combined shots. That's great defense. TCU over Kansas State, 77-68. 2 teams that are looking to get back on the right side of things. Baylor over UCF, a loss that the Knights almost couldn't afford. For Baylor, Cam Carr goes for 26 points. Obi Abram goes for 12 and 7. Isaac Williams, 14 points and 5 assists for him. And Dan Skillings, 15 points off the bench. For the Knights, you got 26 from Ali Kugel, but you were really missing a big game from Folks. He only shot 3 for 12, had 10 assists though. Realized his shot wasn't falling and was trying to dish it around, but the Knights just come up short after a huge first half from Baylor, giving up nearly 60 points. On over to the Big East, where we had some fun action on Saturday. UConn over Seton Hall, 71-67. And then St. John's, 89-57 win over Villanova. And listen, the white suit made an appearance, and good luck to anybody that's got to play St. John's when Patino brings out the white suit. You got a triple-double from Zuby Ejiofor, goes for 16, 12, and 10. Does the senior out of Texas, the senior forward there. Uzziah Sellers, 14 points for him. Ruben Prey with 10 points off the bench. St. John's scores 90 points. How do they do it? They got to the line at 24 times and absolutely dominated. And I mean dominated. The turnovers and the rebounds. Out-rebounded them by 14. Out-offensive rebounded them by 7. Forced more turnovers than them. That leads to you getting 7 more shots. And that leads to a 32-point win, apparently. No, it was just a rough shooting performance for Villanova. I mean, you look at the shooting chart, and it's a lot of empty blue circles on one side of the court and a lot of filled-in red circles on another side of the court. I mean, it's going to be tough for Villanova to win the game when they shoot 37% from the field, 30% from 3, and only 63% from the line. Listen, I think St. John's will live with 50% across the board and 70% at the line. They're not a great shooting team. They'll take what they can get. On to the SEC, where we had some great action on Saturday. We will start first with Missouri over Mississippi State, 88-64. It seems like Missouri has really found their footing. Sean Phillips, T.O. Barrett, Mark Mitchell, that's a good trio right there. Anthony Robinson off the bench, too, is a problem. Jacob Cruz, a great shooter as well. And listen, for Mississippi State, if Josh Hubbard doesn't go for 25-plus, maybe 30, you probably don't have a chance. Kentucky asserted their dominance against Vanderbilt in Rupp on Saturday, 91-77. Really, nobody for the Doors could get it going off the bench. I mean, you have 5 players score. And in a college game, when you go to Rupp Arena, it's already so tough to win up there. If you only got 5 players scoring and you only hit, 7, you shoot 7 for 28 from 3, it's going to be tough to win that game. And then Kentucky lights out 50% from 3. You have Colin Chandler just 6 for 8 from 3. Denzel Aberdeen 3 for 7. Owe and Chandler both go for 20. Aberdeen with 15. Moreno with 11. A great win for Kentucky as a team that I had in one of my more disappointing teams coming into the season has slowly emerged as one of the favorites. And this is crazy considering Kentucky started 0-2 in conference play with losses against Bama and Missouri, who, they're good teams now. Things were a little shaky in Lexington, and I think that $20 million roster is starting to pay off. Georgia over South Carolina, 87-68. Texas gets a win over A&M, 76-70. Longhorns put up some points. Vocal Titus goes for 14 and 7. Dalen Swain 11 and 10. Tremont Mark, huge night for the Houston transfer, goes for 23. Jordan Pope was 17. For the Aggies, Rashawn Agee 22, Marcus Hill 17. Pop Isaacs 14 off the bench, but nobody else really able to contribute more than one shot. And that's quite literally. The rest of the team made 4 shots. Opposed from those two. Oklahoma, dominant win over LSU, 83-67, as the Sooners are trying to bolster up there here in the last couple of weeks of the season. Nigel Pack, Xavier Brown are really good. And when Dayton Forsyth can come give you 15 off the bench, it's going to be a good game for you. Pablo Tamba, 10 and 10, but really just LSU struggled to put the ball in the basket this game, only 35% from the field. We had 1 versus 2 in the SEC on Saturday, and it was an ugly one. Florida, 111, Arkansas, 77. This game was over at halftime. Florida's probably going to win the national championship again. I mean, quite literally, the recipe for being good in college basketball this year is being good in the middle, being good in the post, having good big men. Because you look at the best teams in the country. Michigan, great big men. Arizona, great big men. Duke, UConn. What do they all have in common? Great front court. What does Florida have in common with those teams? A really impressive front court. And, I mean, they're not just beating teams in the SEC. They are killing teams. They beat Bama by 30. They beat A&M by 20. Georgia by 20. Florida by 10. A random 14-point win over South Carolina, but they followed that up with a 19-point win over Ole Miss, a 13-point win over Texas, and then, the 34-point win against Arkansas on Saturday. I mean, the team shot 60% and out-rebounded Arkansas by 20. I mean, out-killed them on the defensive glass, 35-17. Defensive glass. I mean, Arkansas got up 75 shots. Did not matter. I mean, all of Florida starters scored at least 13 points. Xavier Lee, 13 points, 7 assists. Boogie Flan goes for 14. Ruben Chinyelu, 12 points, 16 boards. He had 12 defensive rebounds himself. 22 and 5 from Houck. 17.6 rebounds from Alex Condon. And then Urban Klobuchar can come off the bench and hit 4 threes for you. Gives you 14 points. Isaiah Brown with 11. This Florida team is deep. And they look... It's different than last year, but they are more dominant. And I mean dominant in the fact that they're going to beat you up while they're doing it. Last year, they didn't have to do that. They could just... Walter Clayton would just go unconscious late in the games and start hitting bonkers threes like left and right. And essentially it's over from there. So we'll look at if we had any big matchups on Sunday to start the month. Ohio State getting an upset win over Purdue, 82-74. And listen, it was just Ohio State hitting shots that day, 51% from the field. John Mobley, 21 points. Bruce Thornton with 20. Amari Bynum with 14. But a really, really kind of a slow game for Purdue. Does it feel weird to say that in a game they hit 11 threes, but only shot 40%? The biggest place they struggled, though, was rebounding. Purdue should not get out-rebounded, and they did. Devin Royal had a great game on the glass, but it was the guards getting in there too. And listen, Braden Smith is not going to rebound. Fletcher Lawyer's not going to get in there and rebound a whole lot. So if you're if you're rebounding 5 or even 4 versus 3, you got the numbers. You're going to get a lot of rebounds. And listen, I will continue to say it until I'm blue in the face. Rebounding wins you basketball games. Michigan State 77, Indiana 64. Good win there for the Spartans. They improved to 24 and 5 on the season. Jeremy Fears 21 points, 9 assists, 21 points, 13 rebounds from Jackson Kohler. Kurt Hang with 18 off the bench, and then you have you got Ian Eagle and Bill Raftery using Kurt Tang's last name to make I'm pretty sure they made a Wu-Tang Clan joke out of it, because Tang made a three, and Raftery goes woo, like he does, and I'm pretty sure Ian Eagle said Wu-Tang indeed. Nonetheless, great call, great win for Michigan State. They are 14-4 in the Big Ten. We'll look at some conference standings real quick. We'll start first in the ACC. As of today, it's Duke, 2-game gap, then Virginia, and it's Duke. There's not enough games. I think Duke actually has clinched it. Not sure if that's confirmed yet, but a good win for the Blue Devils. And we're getting to that point of the year. It's time that teams are going to start clinching conference tournament berths. Looking at the Big Ten, looks like Michigan has that locked up as well. Nebraska and Michigan State and Illinois were out there. They just couldn't get Michigan. I mean, the only team that got Michigan so far is Wisconsin, and they struggle against the bottom half of the conference for some reason. Over into the Big 12, though, one of the more competitive races coming down to the stretch. It's Arizona and Houston, really. Texas Tech right there as well. I don't know if Houston is going to be able to overcome. It's a 2-point difference, I guess you could say, in games. And Iowa State is, I think, 4 games back, and they play Arizona tonight. So things can start to get a little weird, but I would imagine Arizona probably going to be the 1 seed in that one. Over to the SEC. Well, we can look at the Big East. That one's pretty self-explanatory. It is UConn. It is St. John's, a half game back. And then, realistically, talent drop-off, huge. St. John's dominating Villanova proved that it's UConn and St. John's, and then it's everybody else. I think it could be a 4-bid league, but Seton Hall is going to need to have a good run through the tournament, which could be possible, just depending on where they get lined up with UConn or Villanova or St. John's. Just depends there. So now into the SEC. Again, we know the SEC tournament does the top 4 get buys. Right now, those top 4, Florida, Bama, Arkansas, Missouri. Tennessee and Kentucky just on the outside. Again, if we'll talk about a bad week, we'll jump into the Tennessee-Alabama talk. Man, what has happened to Tennessee? I'm going to read you some numbers from this game, and I've already mentioned that Tennessee lost the game, but I'm just going to read you some stats from this game that make absolutely no sense. Tennessee took 22 more shots than Alabama. Tennessee out-rebounded Alabama by 17. Out-rebounded them by 16 on the offensive glass alone. Alabama had 4 more turnovers, and Tennessee scored more points than Alabama did off the turnovers. Tennessee outscored in the paint Alabama 40-26. Tennessee only had 4 more fouls. Had a 13-point lead. Led for 92% of the game. Alabama took a lead with 20 seconds left in this one. They led for 22.8 seconds, and that was all they needed. It's got to be the most aggravating Tennessee basketball team, and I don't know how long, because I unfortunately got my hopes up after beating Houston. That was a good win. You followed it up. You had a double-digit lead against Kansas, and you blew it. You go to Syracuse, who is terrible this year. They're not a good team. You go look at the ACC standings. They're close to the bottom because they're 15-14, and they've only won 6 conference games in a subpar conference. You lose that game. How? Then we start conference play. You blow a double-digit point lead against Kentucky. You blow one against Kentucky the second time. You blow one against Missouri. You blow one against Alabama. It's just a lot of losing, a lot of losing in this team. And with Nate Ament going down in the first half with a presumed pretty serious knee injury, I don't know where the team goes. Realistically, this is probably a first-round exit. They're probably going to be beating some, I don't know, let's just grab some random team. I'll just scroll through conference standings, and we'll just land on a team that can make the tournament. Boom, they're going to be playing New Mexico State in a first-round game, and they're going to be up by 15. Actually, New Mexico's a really good team. We'll throw some smaller conference team in there. I don't know. They'll be playing. We'll throw, I don't know, Arkansas State. They'll be playing some Arkansas State or a team like that in the first round, have a 15-point lead at halftime, and they'll lose the game. I mean, if basketball was a one-half game, I'd be a fan of Tennessee. Obviously, they're going to drop out of, I would assume that they're going to drop out of the top 25. You go 0-2 in a week, and I get you lose the games by a combined 6 points, but you lose 2 games that week. I don't see any reason for you to need to stay in the top 25, especially with nearly 10 losses. So we will now look at the new AP poll as it comes out at noon Central Time on Monday. So we will start from the back. And actually, kind of a shocker. At number 25, we got St. Louis. A 3-loss A-10 team still in the top 25. BYU falls out. Kentucky, Louisville, Missouri, all right there sniffing, wanting one of those spots. And, I think Kentucky might have a chance, might have an argument because they beat number 24 Vanderbilt by 17 points on Saturday. Missouri, they beat number 23 Tennessee. Tennessee somehow still in, only dropped 1 spot despite losing both games this week. Miami, finally in the top 25, and this is Miami, Florida at number 22. St. Mary's jumps back in at number 21. Arkansas State's put at 20. You lose by 34 points and you can just stay put. I mean, I'm mad that Tennessee's still ranked. Now, looking at the teams just outside, who would I put in over them? I don't know. Miami, Ohio, they jump up 2 more spots. They're into the top 20 now at number 19. St. John's falls 3 spots to 18, despite a huge win on on Saturday, or Sunday, I believe. North Carolina up a spot to 17. Alabama jumps a spot to 16. Purdue falls 7 spots to number 15. Kansas will stay put at 14, despite a 23-point loss. I mean, I've never seen a team get less of a slap on the wrist than Kansas because everybody feels bad because they have the best player in college basketball and he doesn't like playing. This team lost to the number 2 team in the country by 23 points. But you go look and they probably beat somebody they shouldn't have beat on Tuesday in a game that is quite literally just slipping my mind. And this was after them. It was Houston. Yeah, they beat Houston on Big Monday, and they, I guess you could say, rather embarrassed them as, wow, they made it all the way like this far into the show without a technical difficulty up until this point. I would say that's actually quite impressive. And then I have one as I say that. There we go. All right. So back into the AP top 25. We left off at Kansas at 14. Virginia down 2 spots to 13. Gonzaga down a couple spots following that loss to St. Mary's on Saturday. That was a great game as well. Forgot to mention that one. Illinois down 1 spot to 11 at 22-7, and up 6 spots to number 10, Texas Tech. They keep winning big games. They're going to keep moving up. Nebraska back in the top 10, as well as Michigan State, who's at number 8. And then the top 3 is the same. It's Duke, Arizona, Michigan. UConn up to number 4. Florida up to number 5. Iowa State will fall 2 spots to 6. And Houston down 2 spots to 7. I mean, I think that's relatively right. Looking at things, though, outside of the top, I would say 16 teams, and you could probably narrow it down to probably 10, to be honest. Outside the top 10, I don't think anybody else has a chance at a national championship. I think that it may be unfortunate, and I could be totally wrong, but as of March 2nd, this looks like a tournament that's going to be a lot like last year's, where it's going to be a lot of chalk, which isn't going to be as nearly as much fun, but you're going to get more high-profile matchups as we get later on into the season. So we had some great baseball over the weekend. Had some great tournaments. we will look at the 11.7 mid-major power rankings. Southern Miss still at 1, UC Santa Barbara, and UTSA stay put at 2 and 3. UC Irvine up a spot to number 4. Coastal's going to continue to fall as long as they're without Flukie. It's pretty much as long as Cameron Flukie's not there, they're going to have a tough time. We entered the weekend with actually a pretty good margin of undefeated teams. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 teams enter the weekend undefeated, with number 17 Miami, number 4 Mississippi State, number 25 Ole Miss, and this is their rankings at the time of the games. Number 3 Texas, number 15 Clemson, and number 23 A&M, number unranked Oregon, unranked New Mexico, USC, and then UMass and Rider were also undefeated, but they'd only played 3 games. So we made it to Monday, and there's only 3, and those being Texas, USC, and New Mexico. Had a great group of games at Globe Life Field in Dallas, in Arlington. I'll pull up the scoreboard from Friday. We actually got some top 25 action tonight, funny enough. But we will go back to Friday, where you have Mississippi State taking down Arizona State 8-4. NC State over Sacred Heart 17-3. UCLA, a big win over number 20 Tennessee, 12-5. And listen, as much as I hate it, UCLA looks like the best team in the country, and this weekend proved that, bar none. Oregon State a nice win over Houston, 2-1. UT Arlington upsets Arkansas, 4-3 on Friday night. Georgia Tech, 17, Northwestern 3. West Virginia, a nice win over Kennesaw State. Baylor upsets Ole Miss in 10 innings. Kentucky, a nice win over St. John's. UNC over Le Moyne, 16-3. Oklahoma over Gonzaga, 14-4. Wake Forest over Davidson, 7-1. Florida over Miami, 7-2. TCU takes down New Haven. Southern Miss over Louisiana Tech. Nebraska takes down Auburn, 9-8. LSU over Dartmouth, 5-2. And Texas A&M takes down Virginia Tech, 10-0. Also at Globe Life Field. And then game 1 of 3 in the, I guess it's still called the Palmetto Series, Palmetto Classic. South Carolina takes down Clemson 7-0, and then Texas over Coastal 8-1. Unfortunate that Coastal's not able to have everybody there and be ready to go when the season started. On to Saturday, Florida State over the Citadel 6-2. Tennessee over Arizona State 5-3. Ole Miss over Ohio State 8-0. Kentucky over St. John's 3-0. West Virginia over Kennesaw 9-1. Auburn gets back against Nebraska 15-4 on game number 2. And then in 10 innings, Florida State upsets Citadel and the Citadel in game 2, 2-1. Arkansas also with some get back, a 9-0 win on Saturday. And then Clemson, they got back as well at Segra Park in Columbia, South Carolina, taking that one at 4-1. Oklahoma over Gonzaga 11-1. UTSA high octane offense game against Coastal Carolina 16-10. That one in Houston. Back at Globe Life Field, Mississippi State 15, Virginia Tech 8. As the Bulldogs offense looks good. Pitching still leaves some to be desired, but if you're putting up runs like that, I don't know how much it matters. LSU over Northeastern 3-1. And that Northeastern team was a really, really good team. Made a good push last year towards the end of the season. I believe they were in a regional with like Florida State, Mississippi State. It was a great regional. Alabama over Oregon State 8-7. Florida takes down Miami in game number 2 8-4, and Texas stays undefeated, taking down Baylor 5-2, and UCLA 11-1 over A&M, another ranked SEC team going down. So we'll take things into the month of March with some games on Sunday. Coastal Carolina a 9-2 win over Ole Miss. Tennessee 3-1 win over Virginia Tech. Oregon State takes down Iowa 4-3. Kennesaw comes back and takes game 3 against West Virginia 7-6. But looks like a bunch of blowouts relatively. Florida State over the Citadels 2-0. Arkansas close off the series win against Arlington 11-1. Auburn over Nebraska 12-3. Gonzaga takes game number 3, 7-1. Again, I don't take a whole lot of credit into Sunday games. A&M over Arizona State 9-3. UCLA and Mississippi State played a great game that Big 12 umpiring ruined there at the end. But UCLA stays undefeated. Well, actually they have a couple losses, but they'll stay at number 1, winning that one 8-7 in 10 innings. And then Clemson closes out things in the Palmetto series 7-2 against South Carolina. And unfortunately, Miami and Florida game 3 was canceled. Florida had already taken the series though, so not a whole lot to really go over there. Games today, Northeastern LSU will be playing today at 7:30. But looking at some midweek games for Tuesday, leading into Wednesday, not too many crazy ones. You got Coastal and NC State playing in Raleigh. That should be a great one. Wake and App State should be fun. ETSU and Tennessee is going to be a good one. Those are two teams that are going to be really dangerous down the stretch. Both teams, 8-3 Tennessee, 9-2 ETSU. We've seen FAU give some teams some trouble, and they'll travel to Florida at Condren Family Ballpark. Oregon State, Georgia Tech, Georgia State. A lot of in-state matchups, especially this early in the season. Mississippi State and Southern Miss. I hope that one is televised. Dallas Baptist in Oklahoma, Cal State Fullerton, and UCLA. A bunch of good action going on Tuesday, and we'll break those down on Wednesday. We'll talk a little bit of Tennessee baseball over the weekend, because it's been a bit of a confusing season for Tennessee. Start the season great, had the shaky Friday, but a win over Kent State. Like, okay, everything's fine. And you'll lose game 2 and game 3 and the series to Kent State at home in February. Things get a little worried. Offense wakes up somewhat. You had one big inning against Bellarmine on Tuesday, and then it kind of sleptwalked through that UCLA game. The starters did much better, but it was a game that never really felt in doubt for UCLA. I mean, Tennessee made it close there for a moment, but again, realistically, was not going to be a huge problem. The pitching was great, really, in all 3 games. You had the Arvidsson didn't look great out of the pen against UCLA, but really everybody else that pitched looked great. The biggest thing, though, that I took out of this weekend from the starting pitching perspective was great. Coons got hit a little bit, but I don't think a whole lot of those runs were earned. Let's see if I can find a box score. May just have to go to the website. But again, the starters were great, and again, let me look at how many runs were tacked on to Coons' line. Only 4 of them earned, but went 10 strikeouts, no walks, no hit by pitch. I mean, and those numbers were a little bit better. Nick Abram had a little bit of a rough time. Issued 4 of the 8 free passes that Tennessee issued on Friday. So a tough loss, but a number one team in the country, no doubt. Then you get an Arizona State team that was relatively hot coming into things on Saturday, coming into the weekend at least. Landon Mack, he got hit, but only 1 walk, only 1 hit by pitch, 5 strikeouts. There was only 3 walks in the game. Each pitcher, gave up 1 free pass. And listen, Cam Appenzeller is a dude. I mean, that kid's going to be legit. Landon Mack looked really good, really comfortable. Brady Frederick is going to be incredibly tough to hit. Overbay looked really good for Arizona State, and Vols actually got to see a former teammate in Derek Schaefer, who had transferred out to Arizona State. So nice to see him get an outing. And then 3-1 win over Virginia Tech on Sunday. Again, the pitching was great. You had 1 walk. You had 3 hit-by pitches. Blanco has got to watch the hit-by pitches, but listen, I love the only giving up, 5 free passes. That'll work. Mark Hendy, came in for a couple of outs, got the strikeout, but the Blanco-Krenzel kind of 1-2 punch, those, that could be a duo that can take you a whole game, because Blanco is only going to get higher with his pitches. Blanco went 90 pitches on Sunday. Landon Mack went 93 on Saturday, and then Coons went out there for pitch 92 pitch 86 on Friday. I think you leaving them out there to give up that home run was probably an unforced error. But listen, if you don't get a rough outing from Deering and Arvidsson, that game is much, much closer. But a lot of the Vols had a tough time with that. Again, you get ETSU in the midweek. You get Oakland also in the midweek on a Wednesday, and then Wright State coming to town on Friday for a 3-game set. It's definitely that time of year where you got to find out things about yourself, and that is a team that's going to do it. So that will do it for this Monday edition of the Mark My Words College Sports Show here on the X Sports Network. We will be back on a Wednesday on the high school side of things. We will get you ready for region championships if our teams are obviously available and still playing. We'll look at a little bit of the NFL Combine, and then obviously college basketball and college baseball. Keep you up to date on all of that. So that will be on a Wednesday when we return. So that will do it for this Monday edition of Mark My Words College Sports Show here on the X Sports Network. Have a good day, everybody.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.